Some of you woke up this morning worried about your people, and some of you woke up worried about churn or loyalty or brand trust. The truth is, you don't get to fix one without fixing the other. Today, we're going to talk about how disengagement is destroying your company's bottom line. This is not an HR problem or a customer experience problem, it's a business problem that shows up in your people first and your revenue second. My name is Stephen Bear. I am a two-time business owner, a three-time author, and a lifelong stickologist, which means that I focus on what makes employees and customers stick around. Everything I'm going to talk about today applies whether you're responsible for people or customers or both. And most leaders, they sit somewhere in the overlap. Most companies are doing something to connect with people, but very few are actually engaging them. Over the past 25 years, I have sat in countless corporate conference rooms, watching teams brainstorm about how to engage their employees and their customers. They have apps, they have surveys, ping pong tables, algorithms, marketing budgets, etc. And yet, their employees and their customers continue to leave in droves. I can't tell you how many executives have said things along the lines of, "We do everything we can, and yet we can't connect with our audience." This line of thinking reveals something that we rarely talk about. Connection is easy. Engagement is hard. Connection is surface level. Engagement is emotional, behavioral, and enduring. I want to share why our obsession with connection is missing the point, and how companies can build engagement into their business models and get employees and customers to stick around. You see, engagement works as a cycle. Engaged employees create better customer experiences. Better customer experiences drive stronger business results. Stronger business results allow companies to reinvest in their people. And that reinvestment is what keeps the cycle alive. Most companies try to fix one part, but high-performing companies design an entire system. We live in the most connected era in human history. Slack messages, emails, apps, loyalty programs, those create contact. But that's not enough. We need to expand from mere connection to true engagement. What are you doing as a manager, a marketer, a salesperson, etc., to get people to buy into you and your company? You see, connection is Velcro and engagement is glue. Velcro sticks fast and Velcro is convenient and Velcro works until pressure is applied. Glue, on the other hand, it takes time. Glue requires chemistry. Glue holds when things get messy. Most organizations build Velcro, and then they act surprised when people peel off during moments of stress or change or uncertainty. Engagement isn't built in moments of ease, it's revealed in moments of friction. When I was a kid, I used to collect baseball cards. I still have them in the original boxes, unopened in my basement. I loved baseball as a kid. I idolized the major league players. And now the all-stars that I think about most often are those servant leaders in the corporate world. These are the people committed to celebrating their employees and their customers and building cultures that people want to be part of. The way leaders show up internally becomes how the company shows up externally. Because culture doesn't stay inside the building, servant leadership is how you create trust and scale. First with your employees and then with your customers. On average, organizations built around servant leadership drive 8 times more revenue per employee, have 1/3 the amount of employee turnover, and outpace the S&P by 3.5 times. Engagement doesn't happen because people care more. It happens because systems and behaviors and consistency make it easier to care. Before I walk you through the solution that I believe every company should take on, let's begin with the problem that we're seeing in most companies. 79% of employees worldwide are disengaged, and only 23% of consumers feel brands truly understand them. Different audiences, same root cause. Let's define disengagement. Mentally and emotionally disconnected, lacking enthusiasm, lacking dedication, lacking commitment. This definition applies to employees doing the minimum and customers switching brands without thinking twice. Disengagement always hits twice, first in the culture and then in the market. Disengaged employees are costing companies $8.8 trillion each year. That's roughly equal to the combined GDPs of the UK, Italy, and Spain. Disengaged employees have a significant impact on business. And as soon as employees are disengaged, customers are disengaged too. Only 39% of employees feel cared for, and only 30% of employees feel developed. No wonder they're disengaged. These numbers result in high turnover internally and customer churn externally. And customers experience the downstream effects of internal failure every day. Companies succeed or fail because of three things. 1, a purpose it believes in. 2, a strategy it commits to. And 3, people it develops. You can't out-strategy a lack of purpose, and you can't execute either without great people. These three issues, they break engagement for employees first and then customers second. Okay, let's pressure test this through real behavior. In scenario 1, a company has a great purpose. Let's score it 100 points. Excellent job. It has very good strategy. Let's score it 80 points. But it has poor people engagement. Let's score it 30 points. Purpose times strategy times engagement gives the company a score of 240,000. In scenario 2, a company has equally great purpose. Let's score it 100 points. It has good yet inferior strategy to scenario 1. Let's give it 60 points. But it has very good people engagement. Let's give it 80 points. Purpose times strategy times engagement gives it a score of 480,000. Purpose, strategy, engagement are equally important. And so many companies fail to recognize this. There are three main reasons that employees are disengaged. Many companies have a lack of psychological safety. People don't understand the purpose, the mission, and the vision of the company. And managers don't know how to coach their employees. Let's break these down. Let's start with the most foundational one, lack of psychological safety. If people don't feel safe internally, they won't take ownership externally. I'm sure you've worked at companies or heard of companies that have a reputation for toxic culture or bad management or poor training or low standards or poor planning, etc. In these companies, people have to do things a certain way because that's how it's always been done, not because that's the way it should be done. These are the companies where people have to cover their butts. These are not psychologically safe places to spend 40 hours a week. These companies need to think different. Years ago, Apple launched a marketing campaign. It was a tribute to the crazy ones who think different. While it was targeting consumers, it could just as well be a playbook on how to run a company. Honor individuality, celebrate curiosity, question norms, encourage dissent, expect breakthrough ideas. Innovation shows up where employees feel safe to solve customer problems. In fact, the top 25% of psychologically safe companies experience 3 times more innovation, 50% more productivity, and 27% more profitability. When Steve Ballmer was CEO of Microsoft, the company was known for its toxic employee competition, its slow innovation, and quite honestly, its declining morale. And then when Satya Nadella took over, he prioritized building a collaborative culture, an innovative environment, and he celebrated shared successes. When Microsoft changed how people were treated internally, customers felt it, and it was reflected in their revenue and in their profit. When companies prioritize people, customers notice. Under Bob Nardelli's leadership at Home Depot, employees were intimidated and micromanaged, and autonomy was gutted. And then Frank Blake came in, and he focused on building trust with the frontline workers. He was famous for regularly walking store floors and getting to know customer-facing employees. He also shifted the company to a service leadership model, writing hundreds of thank you notes each week to employees. Similarly to Microsoft, Home Depot made it clear that companies can create economic value and human value in harmony. Let's look at one more example. Most grocery stores optimize for efficiency. Trader Joe's optimizes for trust. Employees are encouraged to talk to customers. They can open products on the spot. They can solve problems without asking permission. That's not connection, that's contribution. People don't feel like employees there, they feel like hosts. And when people feel trusted, they act trustworthy. And this doesn't just result in good feelings, it results in good performance. Trader Joe's outperforms other major groceries in profit margins by 2 to 10 times. That's the glue that any company would dream of. When companies prioritize their people, sentiment goes from thank goodness it's Friday to thank goodness it's Monday. People want to be there because they want to feel seen and heard and valued. And while this might sound corny, happy companies make happy people make happy families make happy communities, and happy communities make a happy world. And I'm sure we could all agree that a happy world would be a nice thing to have these days. Let's look at number 2. Many companies have posters on their walls declaring their purpose and their mission and their values. However, what they declare on their poster board and how they incentivize their employees is often in conflict. This is confusing for employees. And while customers don't experience your company's value statement, they experience your employee behavior and the mindset during their interactions with the brands. Most employees don't know what their company's purpose or their values or their missions are. This could be because they're not part of the day-to-day operations, or because the C-suite has designed something far too aspirational. Some companies have shifted to a simpler way of articulating who they want to be by focusing on what we do, how we do it, and why we do it. Getting your employees and your customers' heads around this can be transformational. Now that your people know what you do and how you do it and why you do it, it's important to understand how they can make the what, the how, the why successful. This is easier said than done. It requires mapping their roles to the business, what, how, and why, and coaching them on a daily basis to keep it top of mind. Which brings us to the importance of managers in every organization. They are the glue between the C-suite vision and the day-to-day employee behavior. The problem is 60% of managers fail within 2 years due to insufficient training or lack of leadership skills, inability to delegate, and poor emotional intelligence. Customers feel the emotional residue of bad management every day. As a reminder, only 39% of employees feel cared for, and only 30% of employees feel developed. No wonder they're disengaged. And as the old saying goes, people don't leave companies, they leave managers. Much like a great salesperson needs to do with their customers, managers should do the following 3 things with their employees regularly. Number 1, greet them. Make them feel seen. Say things like, I was just thinking about you, and then let them know why. Number 2, know them. Ask your employees to create a user manual. What's important to them? Who's important to them? What motivates them? What ticks them off? How are they best utilized in team situations? Having this clearly spelled out for everyone on your team helps you, helps your employee, helps their colleagues. And number 3, grow them. Remember when we talked about helping them bridge the gap between the C-suite vision and their day-to-day work? It requires mapping their role to the business what, how, and why, and making sure that they know what they can do to help the company succeed. Coach them every step of the way, and they will grow into happy, successful members of your company. If you want to fix how people feel at work and how customers feel about your brand, ask yourself every day, what's important to them? How can you serve their needs? And doing so will make you and your company successful. Thank you.